Welcome to JWL Sports, where we review all the best sports clips from around the world. Now, you're probably wondering, why should I watch over here instead of any of the other channels? And that's because over there, they don't care about what you have to say. They say this all the time. They talk down to us. They think we're just a bunch of clowns on YouTube, Twitter. But I think it's the opposite. I think we know exactly what we're talking about. So I read every single comment. So if you think what I'm saying is the most ridiculous thing you've ever heard, let me know in the comments below. If you think what I'm saying is the most amazing thing, then definitely please let me know. Either way, let's get into some discussions, let's get into some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and it's turning into something truly, truly special. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of, and I think we're well on our way to doing it. So without further ado, let's get to it. We're watching a clip of First Take with Stephen A. talking about, I guess Tony Romo made a recent statement about how the Cowboys are just right there and that they can do this and that they can win. I completely disagree with this statement. I'm sure Stephen A. does as well, because based on the title, what you're talking about. So I guess that means that. I'll see what he has to say. Dare I say I'm going to end up agreeing with a lot of what Stephen A. has to say, but which is not normal, not my norm here, but we may coincide with this one. So let's just see what he has to say, and we'll go from there.
The Dallas Morning News, the Cowboys are so close. I think the Cowboys, in some ways, they just need to go out and do their job. They're knocking on the door. You can't be this good year in and year out without breaking through at some point. I think they will very soon. Meanwhile, Emmitt Smith had this to say about head coach Mike McCarthy. Emmitt, talk to me.
To be honest, I am a little surprised, all because of the way things has transpired over the last 3 years. Removing Kellen as the OC and taking over the controls of the offense and so forth, I am a little surprised. The way we exited the playoff this year was not it was not a good look, put it that way, and it was somewhat embarrassing. It lends you to believe that either we're not trained or coached properly.
All right, Essay, I want to start with you. Your reaction to what Emmitt just said there.
Well, first of all, I think he told the truth about the coaching, about the question marks, about the staff and what have you. And obviously, he's qualified. He's a three-time Super Bowl champion, retired as the all-time leading rusher in NFL history. We know he's a lifelong Dallas Cowboy fan. He ultimately went to Arizona for a little bit. We get it. We know who he is and the credibility that he brings to the table. So when Emmitt Smith speaks, you listen, because he ain't going to say much.
No.
But when he says something like that, you take it very seriously. I want to say this to Tony Romo, who obviously is a contemporary in the business now, does a great job on CBS Sports. Where's the camera? You should be ashamed of your damn self. What the hell is wrong with you, Tony Romo? Seriously. If I saw you to your face, I would shake your hand because I got a lot of love for you as a person. What the hell is wrong with you? You, of all people, when he was a quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys, you didn't get the job done. What are you talking about? At some point, we're going to break through. You at some point. You once were, you didn't get it done. And then we're watching this team, and we're watching a talent level that, is, as far as I'm concerned, has gotten better and better and better throughout the years, and you still haven't been able to get it done. People who don't get it done don't need to be talking about people needing to get it done. Yeah. Now, Emmitt Smith got it done. So he could sit up there and say, it's a little embarrassing. I don't understand it. Something's missing.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. If that's the logic, then Stephen A. shouldn't be able to say anything because he's never done anything in sports in that regard. So I don't even know what he's talking about. I mean, that's just here. I thought that I was going to agree with what Stephen A. had to say, and boy, was I surprised, because I thought he was going to just take it from a different perspective, saying that the Cowboys just don't have enough pieces, that Dak Prescott isn't good enough, that McCarthy's not good enough, all of these things. And so this idea that he's just calling out Romo because Romo, quote unquote, didn't get it done, that's insane. That's insane. Romo, I don't even want to unpack Romo's career necessarily and give reasons why his opinion is worthy, but he was a really good quarterback in the NFL. You are not graded and you're not seen as your worth is not like graded to me based on whether or not you win a Super Bowl. There's a lot of players and a lot of teams and coaches, for that matter, that have won championships, and it wasn't necessarily because of them, right? That there was a lot of luck or good fortune that fell their way. And then you have other quarterbacks who are amazing, or just players in general, who are amazing, who are elite, who are at some points the best in the NFL, the best in the world. They don't win because of just the powers that be, and yet their opinion means less now. I mean, that's just silly. That's really just silly. For what if Tony Romo is an absolute genius quarterback, but he just didn't have the same physicality as, say, Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, whatever, right? We know, and again, I'm not saying that's the reality, but it's a possibility that actually Tony Romo is just so brilliant and is actually theoretically the smartest quarterback we have ever seen, and he understands the NFL and gameplay better than anyone in the history of the world. But he just, wasn't physically good enough. He just couldn't make the throws at the right time, which is okay. Not everyone has that ability, because you have other people that are absolute athletic freaks of nature, but they're not the smartest person in the world. So again, and you want to hear all of their opinions, honestly. That's why it's not right. That's why there's a million coaches on a team. It's not just one coach. When a GM is making plays, making decisions of personnel and stuff, it's not just him and no one else. He's got a whole team of people, the whole whiteboard, doing everything. It's always this complete picture here. It's not just one thing. So let me look at the camera, Stephen A. What's wrong with you? Seriously, that's just like the dumbest thing ever. You should be ashamed of yourself for a comment like that, because it doesn't make any sense, and you've done nothing in the NFL. Therefore, your opinion means absolutely positively nothing. So I just don't get where we're going with that. Nick Foles won a Super Bowl, okay? Amazing story, came back, won a Super Bowl. You definitely want to listen to him when he talks about resilience and never giving up and, what it takes and all that, but does that mean that he knows how to be a quarterback, or that he's a better quarterback than, say, Dan Marino? Or let's say, think of a more modern football player, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen. Does he know more, or is he necessarily better equipped to be a better quarterback because he won a Super Bowl and Joe Burrow hasn't? No. I mean, if you had to draft a quarterback right now, who would you draft? It would be Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, definitely over Nick Foles. Yet Nick Foles won a Super Bowl. So it's just silly. It doesn't really make sense, and I don't even know where he's going for it. But to really now just emphasize and speak on what Romo said and actually respecting his opinion, I think he's wrong, because I don't think the Cowboys are good enough, and I think the Cowboys are guaranteed to take a step back this season because they lost their coach, their DC. You're not going to get better. Their defense was such a big deal of what made them successful this season, and now they're losing that. So their defense isn't going to get any better. Their offense, there's no reason to believe that it's going to get better, because they're not doing anything to make it better, and they're keeping McCarthy. So you know exactly what you're going to get. You got the max out of Dak Prescott, and Dak Prescott is just not good enough. He's a good quarterback. He is not great. He is a B quarterback. He is not an A quarterback. And you're paying him Patrick Mahomes money. So you're paying him Patrick Mahomes money, but then he can't play like Patrick Mahomes. So if someone can't play as good as Patrick Mahomes, then you're now expecting to have the same success as Patrick Mahomes. Doesn't really make sense. So unless you can convince Dak Prescott to take a pay cut, and it doesn't have to be this massive pay cut. I'm not saying he should be getting paid $10 million a year here, but just like enough where now you can go out and buy some and make some key acquisitions and really boost up your team. That's the only chance you have. But if you run it back, which as of right now, that's what they're essentially doing, and they're obviously going to draft people, but you have to just hit absolute home run grand slams to be able to make a step forward. But Dak Prescott, and McCarthy for that matter, is the limiting factor. And the truth is, it's a little hard to figure out. Is it Dak Prescott? Does Dak Prescott limit McCarthy, where if Dak Prescott was a better quarterback, would McCarthy be able to do more magic? Or is it vice versa, where if McCarthy was even better of a coach, he would be able to get even more out of Dak? I think at this point, the amount of football Dak has played, we have a really good idea who Dak is. And so I think that's where, and again, it's not like Mike McCarthy is not my favorite coach. He's really not. If I were the Cowboys, I would have tried to really go out and get someone big. I'd rather take a chance on like a Ben Johnson or something. Or last season, why would I have not tried to go after, Peyton or someone else, Harbaugh? Like, why did you not make an offer that Harbaugh could not refuse? They didn't do it. And so now you're running it back with the same coach quarterback duo, And it's like, what are you expecting to happen? Are you expecting Dak to take a giant step forward and now begin to ball out like a Mahomes? No. But then you're paying him like a Mahomes, okay? And yet he can't deliver that. So how do you think your team's going to be good? Just doesn't make sense and it doesn't add up. But what are your thoughts on this one? I would absolutely love to know them. So please let me know in the comments below. Do you think what Stephen A said about Romo makes sense or is just absurd? Do you think the Cowboys are really actually just that close and they'll eventually break through? Please let me know in the comments below. Please don't forget to subscribe. As I said, we are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you a part of it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really helps with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.